It's about three men who are really, really bored, so they decide to take up crime. Hey guys, ETG Writes here. I figured it was time for another What I'm Reading This Month book ramblings video, so here we go. The first on my list for this month is dun dun dun, Starman, and this is the third book in the Wayfarer Redemption series. It's quite a handsome book. I was really happy with the way the last book resolved. The cool thing is the author is very adept at having the overarching story be something that's driving the entire series forward, but then having smaller little stories. For instance, there was a big conflict that happened in this book where one of the bad guys was soundly defeated, and I'm thinking, hey, but we're only, this far through the book. There's got to be some more to go, right? This can't be all there is. It's a little boring otherwise. And guess what? Something very, very terrible happened. Spoilers, but this poor woman's baby was kidnapped. So really looking forward to how they're going to rescue him, because we've gotten to know these characters really well, and I am just so on edge as what is going to happen. The next book I am reading is a book called John Macnab. I found it somewhere secondhand, and I figured, you know what, I'm gonna give this a try. And the cool thing about the classics on Amazon is if you go and look for them, you can find really, really cheap or free versions. Just type in the name of the book and then sort it from price low to high, and you can usually find free or very, very cheap versions of the classics, which is awesome. So I was able to get a copy of that, and it's about three men who are really, really bored, so they decide to take up crime. But not any kind of crime. They're doing poaching because they're going to be gentlemen and sportsmen about it. And honestly, it's a little bit boring. And I'm doing my best, but I'm feeling as bored reading it as these gentlemen are in their high society lives, that they've gotten everything they want in life and now they're bored. So hopefully it gets better, but right now it's about three entitled jerks who are going to commit crime because they can't think of anything else that would fill their lives. The fourth book I am reading is called The Wings of Dragons. It's a fantasy book that I was recommended by a lady at an event I did at Indian Echo Caverns, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. Right now, there's not that much that we've gotten into. There seems to be a little bit of inconsistency in some of the world building, but the characters are interesting, and there's enough suspense, particularly with the way the first chapter opened, that I am interested in seeing what happens next and why what is happening is happening. The next book that I'm really enjoying is this one called Tabitha. I will admit, the only reason I got this book is because the main character shares the same name as me. Now, of course I did read the summary before I picked it up, and it looked really, really interesting, so I definitely went ahead and picked up a copy. But the reason that I was drawn to it in the first place was there was this really cool warrior-looking woman on the cover of the book, and she has my name, if y'all want to know what the T stands for. So I figured I would give it a try, and I am loving it so far. It's about the end of the world in Wales, and that's another point going for it, that it's set in Wales, so I think that is really cool. I really vibe with this character. She's like this mousy little scared person who doesn't stand up for herself, and then when the aliens attack, she accidentally gets injected with some of their venom, manages somehow to survive, and is the only survivor, or one of the very few survivors left after these aliens have come and attacked Earth. And the way it's described is really, really creepy and really, really cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. I really love survival stories. One I really loved growing up was My Side of the Mountain, and anytime you combine survival stories with post-apocalyptic stuff, with cool sci-fi things going on, and there's powers, I'm just down for that. So really enjoying the story and looking forward to seeing where it goes. The last story that I'm reading is Shadow of the Conqueror by Shad and Brooks. You may know him as Shadiversity from right here on YouTube. I'm enjoying reading the book so far, with a big caveat that I don't feel like much has happened. I was on a car trip the other day and I listened to the book for pretty much 2 hours and don't feel like a lot has happened. And maybe that's just because the narrator is reading slowly. I'll have more to say about this in an in-depth video once I've finished reading the book. But so far, my thoughts are I enjoy it, and The sword fighting stuff is cool, the world building is cool. I just wish there was more story as of this moment. So that's what I am reading this month. I'm excited to get through all these books. The last batch of books I was reading, a lot of it was just, I struggled to get through them. It was hard, they weren't that interesting, just very dry, or just weren't my taste. And so I'm super happy to be on a crop of books that I'm bouncing from one to the other, maybe except John Macnab. I'm still reserving judgment on that one, but for the rest of them, really having fun with these. It's always a good feeling when the books you're reading are just great books. But that's all for today. I'll see y'all next time, and until then, happy reading. ETJ out.